And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged to hear from one of the most respected figures in India's judiciary, Honorable Justice A K Patnaik, former Judge of Supreme Court of India. We all know of his illustrious career and profound wisdom with which he has upheld justice and integrity and is now a revered name in India's legal community. It is indeed a great honor to have him with us today. Please join me in welcoming Honorable Justice A K Patnaik onto the dais to please share his thoughts with us.
Justice Shivakrita Singh, the Chairman of the Jury of TIOL Awards, Mr. Shailendra Kumar, the Trustee, the awardees, Dr. Larry Summers, Dr. C. Rangarajan, Dr. Y.V. Reddy, and Mr. N.K. Singh, the distinguished guest. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. First of all, let me tell you that sitting in the jury, it has been very difficult to finalize on the awardees. And particularly these awardees that you see today. So far as Dr. Larry Summers is concerned, there was a big debate which went on. Who amongst the international economists we should finally agree on, and finally we decided upon Larry Summers. And then when it came to the TIOL Heritage Fiscal Awards, there was a tie. There was a tie between Dr. C. Rangarajan and Dr. Y.V. Reddy. And we decided that we should give it both to them. There were others who were younger. We thought they should wait till a few more years. They're younger, they can be considered later. So the selection of awardees has been very tough, very difficult. And I don't know why judges, Justice Shivakrita Singh and we have been kept there in the jury. I thought we can't judge economists because we don't understand much of economics. But then I think judges know how to decide with a lot of application of mind and consider and remove biases, remove prejudices, remove ideological preferences, so on and so forth. And that is how we are there. And I think we have done a wonderful job by selecting the awardees today. I was keenly listening to Dr. Larry Summers. He spoke very convincingly that the fiscal economists have a great challenge to increase the resources sufficient enough to provide the services to different sections of the society, particularly the elders. And I am reminded that when I was a judge, I was a judge in Guwahati High Court for 8 years. They were transferred back to Orissa. When I arrived in Orissa, it was a state. Mr. Summers, it's a state, one of the states in India, one of the provinces in India. And I found the state government with no finances at all. They were paying their salary through overdrafts, Reserve Bank of overdrafts. In one matter, just when we had got up from the court, the Advocate General entered the courtroom at our chamber and said, "We want to stay." I said, "What?" The overdrafts have been, our overdraft account has been attached by the debt recovery tribunal because government had given a guarantee to for some borrower, for the banks, and debt recovery tribunal has attached the overdraft account of the, how do we give salary tomorrow? The state. This was the predicament of state of Orissa. Way back in 2002, where we came back to Orissa from Guwahati. But soon thereafter, they took strong steps to improve their revenue. They cut their costs, their overheads, and improved their finances. And then they started getting mining revenue, better mining revenue. 2015 amendments that this Mr. Modi government brought in the MMDR Act increased the mining royalties to a considerable extent. And that resulted in a lot of revenue coming to the state of Orissa. Result was Orissa started developing at a faster pace because they had funds to invest. I was just discussing with the vice chairman of the Rajya Sabha, who was sitting by my side. Bihar could not make that growth because all the resources have gone to, mining revenue has gone to Jharkhand. So this revenue is a very, very important factor. Unless revenue is sufficient from the state, development cannot take place. This is what I want to tell you all. Orissa has grown because of the revenue. I was keenly listening to Dr. Rangarajan, who spoke about minimizing deficit financing, very strongly advocating. I entirely agree with him. We can't go on taking to deficit financing and providing all kinds of things to the people at the cost of the finance. But then when we were in the Supreme Court, I was in the Supreme Court, we didn't know much of economics. But we thought of a lot of equity, justice for the poor also, because that is the mandate of the Directive Principle of State Policy. When I was in the mining bench, or the green bench stay, a matter came up before us where additional NPV had been collected from different mining corporations and kept with the government of India. And we took a call, three of us, what is the money, why is the lighted resources lying the government of India? Let that be put to a corporation, an SPV, Orissa Mineral Development Corporation, which came to be known as OMPATC. And that time it was 800 crore, then subsequently became 16,000 crores. And let them be spent on various development measures taking the mining districts. Subsequently, Supreme Court appointed me as the oversight authority of those expenditure, there's 16,000 crores. You know, what are they being spent on? They are being spent on providing tap drinking water to every house in these three mining districts. And it has been done. Providing education facilities to the weaker sections of the society, tribals in these areas, three areas. So schools have been renovated, houses, boarding schools are being made, all kinds of education provided. Providing livelihood in these areas. And I have been traveling in those areas. If you go and see, you will see how these resources, about 16,000 crores, which was collected by your mining penalty, are being utilized for the poorest section of the society. This is how we thought of raising resources. Right. And then another area, the Goa Mining Foundation case, Goa mining case came up before us, before the three-judge bench. And there was a complaint from everywhere that so much of resources, mineral resources, being taken away from Goa, the miners exported, without any contribution to the local areas. So in our judgment, we said 10% of the price of the minerals got by the miner will be deposited to the local collector for local development. And this idea was incorporated again in 2015 MMDR Act as District Mineral Fund and applied throughout the country. Result is 10% of the royalties now being deposited with the District Mineral Fund, of which the collector is in charge, and they are being utilized only in those areas. Otherwise, all these resources collected were going to other areas of development, no contribution towards the local areas. So this is our way of doing things in the Supreme Court. For economists like Dr. Rangarajan and Y.V. Reddy, they said they had to convince the government, they had to persuade the government with their economic policy, and if the government agreed, then things happened. But it was the choice of the government, concerned government, whether to agree with the economists or not, or whether the RBI, RBI, they have got independent powers. So, this is our way of doing things. Political leaders must understand what economists are advising. And if they follow those advices, things will change a lot in our country. Dr. Y.V. Reddy mentioned about independence. That's a very important thing. Independence of the economist. Very, very important, according to me. If you read the economic surveys, at times these days, you find loss of independence there. They don't sometimes give the correct picture. We understand it. They are loyal to the masters, political masters. But economists, true economists, like Dr. Reddy, Dr. Rangarajan, and Mr. Larry Summers, who have been advising government, where they have given the right advice, things have gone in a better direction for the country, whichever country they belong to. So economists have a very important role to play, very, very important role to play, to advise. And I would request them to think over the greatest problem that our country is facing today, problem of unemployment, and write on the problem of unemployment so that the government gets ideas how to reduce unemployment in our country. Thank you very much.